What do you think about when you think about touch and massage in pregnancy and postpartum? I personally love massage, and I so wish I had been encouraged when I was pregnant to learn about pregnancy massage, as I would have loved more education. I wish my partner had more education because we would have enjoyed that in both pregnancy and postpartum. So, whether you're like me and you love it, or if you've not found massage enjoyable or safe, today's guest is going to provide you with great information and education about embracing the goddess within, empowering pregnancy and postpartum through prenatal massage and touch. Hi, I'm Deborah Pascali Bonaro, founder and director of Orgasmic Birth and host of the Orgasmic Birth podcast. And my guest today, Melissa Hale, is a licensed massage therapist and Asian bodywork therapy practitioner for over 20 years. She's also a certified vinyasa yoga teacher, a doula, and social justice activist. Originally from New York City, she's taught massage therapy courses on various techniques and is part of the certified practitioners of the American Organization of Asian Bodywork Therapy. Melissa specializes in traditional Chinese medicine, offering ama therapy, nutritional, and herbal recommendations. In 2014, she received specialized training in Chengdu, China, and recently Melissa relocated to Denver with her husband, Sean, and their 4-year-old daughter, Skyla. Welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me here.
And I know we have a lot to talk about. And one of the things I always love to just ask, and you can share just a little bit, is about your own birth and how that might have impacted all the studies that you have and all that you're bringing together for people in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum.
Thank you. I love that question. My own birth, from what I was told, my mother was an activist also, and she was a childbirth activist. Um, and so she had us from the story. Stop. Um, I was told that I was born at Roosevelt Hospital in New York, and at one of the birthing centers there. And my sister, who is also a very inspirational birth story for me, she was actually 2 years younger, but I hear this magical story from what my mother told me of the snowy day in March and how I was home and she had a midwife, and the midwife was there supporting her, and our grandparents were home, and they came to get us and came to get me to pick me up. And I was 2 years old, and I connected with my sister, who is my best friend for life. And just this birth story, this magical birth story, really inspired me to love the birthing process. I also have a sister who's 16 years younger than me, and being part of watching her have a water birth. And so just having all of these beautiful birth stories inspired me to want to help mothers birth, to be a prenatal massage therapist, and also to be a doula.
Oh, so beautiful. So many people don't have that opportunity. So, how special that your mom, was an activist already and brought you all together. So, take us now on the journey of becoming this, embracing the goddess archetype. How do you empower women during pregnancy and postpartum?
Um, Birth for mothers who have not had, who are going in first time specifically, it can be scary because there's this unknown and there's a space, and to have, and so a lot of the mothers, I work with a lot of doulas who recommend them come to see me. I'm one of the few practitioners here that specialize in that. And so what I do is massage, but then there's also this aspect that we carry that surrounds us, this ethereal body of stress that sometimes we carry. and to be able to lift that up and to be able to help mothers feel like those goddesses and feel empowered and to feel in their power is what I do. And so um, whether that's giving them inspirational goddess archetypes that they could look, or to find inspiration in their families, those are things that we discuss prior to massage. And then of course, the massage and the stress relief is part of that as well.
How beautiful. Now, for some people, they're like goddess archetypes. What's that? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes. So we're looking at different goddesses. We're looking at Egyptian in mythology. So we're looking at Egyptian goddesses. We're looking at Yoruban goddesses. So we're looking in Greek goddesses, and we're looking at different goddesses who tell these stories that can almost resonate with who we are. We could find something within ourselves, within the goddesses, and that helps us to find that power within us to be able to birth and power and to feel confident and supported. Um,
Yeah, I love that because it's really helping people, right, find their own inner wisdom and power by identifying with others and the archetypes. And I love that you do this before you start body work. So you're really bringing like body, mind, spirit all together. What else would you say to people when they're pregnant? Like if they want to do this for themselves, how could they awaken that?
One of the biggest things I think is really important, one, for me as a practitioner, there's two hats that I wear. One is a massage therapist, and the other is traditional Chinese medicine. We're looking at traditional Chinese medicine. You never take your client as, um, you know, you really customize and individualize each client's experience. And to be able to do that, there's so much value and so much importance in sitting down with them. And even if it's whether it's the first time or whether it's been, you're seeing them every single session, every week, it's important to check in and to be able to sit down and give that platform to them so that they need to be heard, to be able to allow them that space to be able to get that voice out. And then we can do that healing process, and with the massage. And that can even include different crystals and different things within. I have above my table, I have vocal crystals. So it's in a very immersive experience of illuminating and a healing.
It's so beautiful, and I know, and we had talked about this before, that right now, especially, so many people when they're pregnant have a lot of fear and anxiety, and especially in light of the crisis of Black maternal morbidity and mortality. How does all your work? How do you address that and support people in that healing and in coming to a place of calm and peace?
It's coming from a very inclusive environment. One, I myself I'm also a Black mother. But two, I'm also coming from a very diverse background in terms of age. I'm also an older mother. So I'm having all these other aspects that we don't really take into account sometimes. Where looking at the mother and looking at the various backgrounds, for myself, my mother is not here. So there's some mothers where we talk about it, but we're assuming that every woman who's going into birth has their mother and has all of these resources, but then their adversity is that they're Black. And so being able to look at the diverse community or interpersonal community that we have, to be able to heal. For me, going into childbirth and hearing the statistics, there's with that, there's so much fear. There's so much of trust. There's a trust aspect of who's going to be able to support us, whether we're in a right, whether we're in a right community or of mental, and also with doctors that are going to be able to physically support us. And so as a healer, having the ability to communicate and have that time for each client that I'm working with, um, is where I'm able to give that support, reducing that stress.
Yeah, so important. And I really, your work is so powerful, right? In helping people to reduce stress, I always say, and come into peace and pleasure. And I know that part of it, and you wear like, I call it lots of hats. You do so many different things in supporting people in birth. How can they help build a supportive team for birth and postpartum? What are some of the things that you recommend?
One thing, especially working with doulas, right? We're here with doulas, is I myself am very lucky because I have this beautiful community that I work with of doulas who refer their clients to me. I have different hats as a massage therapist. I also have other practitioners that I connect with. So I have acupuncturists, I have chiropractors, I have physical therapists, people who they can come to me and I can give them resources of people who I know are going to give them that care and that love, and that they're in expert hands. They're going to be taken care of with the best hands, and the best knowledge. And so with that, whether they're speaking to me or whether they're speaking to a physical therapist or a chiropractor, if there's a time that they're not feeling safe, even with their doctor, even if they need to speak to their doctors, they have a collaborative team of people who are working together to be able to support them. And at any time that they need that, that's there.
Collaboration is so important, right? I think a lot of people don't realize that it takes the village, right? To just prepare for birth and then to have that village accessible in birth and postpartum. And so we've been talking a lot on emotional level, right? Finding their power, finding their community, healing, addressing fears and anxiety. But a lot of people, and we started out, are thinking physical too. Can you give some tips of what are some of the common things that people feel? Pregnant bodies are changing and feel lots of different things. And what are some of the ways that they can find more comfort?
Yes. Um, Early in pregnancy, we're working with elevated blood levels. So we're working with headaches, or there can also be more fatigue or sleep. Of course, that comes along with sleepless nights, right? So and anxiety. We're getting back into that. Second trimester, we're working with the changing body. So whether there's rib pain or whether there's different, there's shifting and their spine. The other thing that I'm looking at, going back to this, is what chronically have they been dealing with? So not just acutely, that's something that's coming along with pregnancy, but what has always been an issue, whether that's a stiff neck or whether that's shoulder pain or migraines, what have they always suffered from? Because now they're not really able to deal with those medications that they've always had. And then as we get into the third trimester, we're working with, again, anxiety, but we're also dealing with, um, we start to go along with more of dealing with lower back pain. That becomes more stressful. Some clients have sciatica. So that can also be some areas that we're working on. We're working on even with legs and feet. So we're doing a lot more foot massage or reflexology. Um, and then I also do, it's not labor induction because I'm not Pitocin, but it is labor induction massage techniques that I use. And with that, I'm doing more acupressure. So I'm working along bringing the energy down so that we're able to descend. I also do some techniques to help with moving the pelvis. So we love finding fluidity there. So that's also part of that. So all of those different techniques with acupressure, with massage, I'm even using sometimes gua sha. So I'm scraping on the wrist, which is really nice. They're reducing any of that tension and just loosening up the body.
And how does this prepare them for birth then? Is there a benefit of doing this prenatally?
Yes. So, so as we know, the biggest benefit, and I know that we're going into it, but we're conditioning the body, right? So we're able to loosen up any inflammation or any tension in the muscles. So that's one. We're preparing the body for birth, right? So that's those are some big changes. So if we're able to gradually prepare the body, loosen those muscles, prepare like um support the pregnancy, then postpartum, that recovery of having baby, one, stress levels are reduced, but muscle in terms of your muscles, they're not as tight. Even in labor, we're not getting cramps, right? We're having more of ease into your body. There's more oxygen, there's more blood flowing, there's more oxytocin. So all of those things, so all of those things are helping or beneficial.
Yeah. And as you're saying it, I'm thinking, oh, why didn't I have all this in my pregnancies years ago? But I'm glad people are hearing this because there's such benefit, right? To touch and massage that you've laid out in pregnancy and birth. And you started into postpartum too. And I have to ask you to go deeper because I remember postpartum feeling like, whose body is this? Like, so like it wasn't my body anymore. I just felt so many things in the body healing and emotionally and mothering and all of that. So, what are some of the benefits of postpartum massage and how is that done?
So postpartum massage, um, there's actually, I'll get into that. Um, with postpartum massage, you're helping with recovery. You're helping the mother take ownership of their body. That fear of like whose body because you're gradually working with that, you're able to gradually support the mother into blossoming into this beautiful, into motherhood, into that changing, beautiful body. So even breastfeeding, we're regulating hormones. So for not all, some mothers, that helps for breastfeeding, that supports it. It regulates hormones, so it reduces postpartum depression. There's been studies on that. Um, there's even musculoskeletal. We're not having as many. There's been studies on that too, where there's less trauma to the body. One of the things that I'm constantly working on that's that a lot of us don't even realize is that the body holds memory, right? So there's somatic response to your body. If you're able where you are, like there's trauma. So if you're going in, even with birth or even with the pregnancy, there's this traumatic response because you haven't had the chance to be healed. You haven't had a chance to have that village or that community or that love to your body or to yourself. Then postpartum wise, that's going to create depression, and that's another crisis that we're looking at.
Yeah. So, can you share for people a story? Do you have a client that comes to mind on how this has been a healing journey, how an opportunity to have touch and massage that addresses body, mind, and spirit really makes a difference?
Yeah, I had a mother who came to see me, and normally I wait. I normally have mothers that come. I usually have them line it up their first visit to their first doctor's appointment or the first midwife's appointment. So usually about usually about 6 weeks. Um, this mother had gone through a very traumatic birth, and she I kind of open it up to when they feel ready. I don't like to force. So she really needed to come in. Um, I think she must have been a week postpartum. It was very, very, very soon. Um, and so upon our conversation, she still had stitches. And so we were talking, discussing it, and she had concerns that it wasn't that she didn't have them doing the sutures or the stitches correctly. And she kept bringing it up to me, and she said, well, I brought this up to the doctors. Is this, is this okay? Because they said they didn't really look at it. And so I actually advised her to speak to someone else. And it turned out that they had to do another surgery for her.
Oh,
So,
oh,
um,
that's so sad to hear.
yeah.
That's so good that you were able to hold the space to honor because people know their bodies, right? And they often are not listened to. And so helping people to really trust their inner knowing, their wisdom, that was so important that you held that space for her and encouraged her to get checked.
And thank you. Yeah. And the beauty of it also was that there was a doula, she had a doula who I recommend. So it's like working again collaboratively of giving her that power to hear herself. So yeah.
Yeah. And so important to do all that healing, right? And I would even add, we have to heal and then we can move to pleasure. So I want to end with that on a note of how having this opportunity to create your team and village and to have touch and massage as a part of it and the kind of finding your power makes such a difference. So, what else would you say from healing to pleasure? How would touch and massage add to finding more joy and pleasure in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum?
Um, Connecting to your body, one, raising those levels of oxytocin, right? Being able to increase that. Um, as a massage therapist, another thing that I do, I teach couples massage classes, and having your partner massage you or have and connecting before, like just having that pleasurable experience of having your partner know where your pleasure zones are, whether that's your feet or giving you a really nice relaxing foot massage or a scalp massage, or knowing when how to support you and be there for you, and for your partner too. So be able to create that pleasurable experience, that when you look back up at those beautiful bonding experiences.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful, Melissa. I know that you gave so many tips, but if you had to summarize for someone listening going, how do I begin on this? What would be your message to people to get started in exploring massage and touch?
Definitely looking for a certified prenatal massage therapist, very important. They're specialists, so that extensive amount of training is important, and that dedication and love, to focus specifically on that. Um, find someone who does that. Find that village. Find even for yourself, like reading books on massage and learning about different techniques. Those are really supportive. I have done some YouTube videos, probably not like amazing, but like I've done some couples massage classes, where there's like foot massage on their techniques. So yeah, they're just finding fun ways to get into touch therapy.
And how can people find you? Because they're listening, going, how do I get to your YouTube? And do you offer classes that people can attend virtually? Is it all in person? Share some of your offerings and where people can find you.
So currently I'm in Denver. I'm planning to expand a little bit, but I do offer virtual classes. So virtuals are for prenatal, postpartum, and even fertility. So all of those. And that's more of a coaching aspect where I can actually find people specifically within your community and help you to build that. So that's one that I have. I'm working on a book. And I do have on my website at mossnorththerapy.com. I do have my connections to my Instagram and to my YouTube, and I definitely have fun on there. So you can find me on there.
Fantastic. And that's in the show notes. So for everybody, make sure you look below where you're listening or watching, and you can click over to Melissa's website to see all her offerings and share your thoughts and feedback too. So I want to thank you so much, Melissa, for joining us today, sharing your great wisdom. Encouraging everyone to explore healing and finding peace and pleasure in touch, massage, and connecting to your body and your power. For everyone listening, please share. We love to hear your feedback. Jump over to Instagram, tag us both, and we look forward to having you join us for our next episode of the Orgasmic Birth Podcast. So thank you so much again. Wishing you all pleasure.